Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox Podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. On Fridays, we talk about the product owner role in Scrum. We talk about patterns and anti-patterns that relate to ours and the team's collaboration with the product owner. And we've also put together a course to help you navigate that relationship. There's 18 modules, nearly 8 hours of tools, techniques, videos, handouts, presentations you can use to help you and your team work better with your product owner. The course is available at bit.ly/coachyourPO. All lowercase, all one word, that's bit.ly/coachyourPO. And now, on to the show, the Product Owner Show. Hello everybody, welcome to our Friday TGIF episode this week with Sjoerd Nijland. Hi Sjoerd, welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure. So today's Friday, we talk about product owners. And because we want to end up on a high, we'll talk first about the anti-pattern. So Sjoerd, share with us what might have been the worst product owner anti-pattern that you've seen in your career?
Yeah, well, I guess one of the worst ones, and a very common one, is that product owners kind of take estimates that the developers give them and use them to communicate to stakeholders how long something would take or how much it would cost them. And I think that's very common, but also one of the worst anti-patterns that you can have as a product owner. Like in these cases, I think a product owner should really try and reverse the flow of information there.
So walk us through how that anti-pattern develops. So of course the product owner comes to the team and say, hey guys, how long would this take? And then what happens?
Yeah, one of the worst examples of that is really that in this case, it was actually not, it was a Scrum Master, but kind of acting like a product owner, even worse. But it would ask an estimate of a team member, literally, about a certain task. And after that, and this is a true story, the Scrum Master would set a time box, literally on the phone, like a timer running. And okay, let's go. Let's do this together. And you could kind of already see the sweat kind of on the back of the neck and of the developer thinking, oh God, what's going on here? And actually that Scrum Master was more like a project manager even, but literally kind of challenging the developer to finish that task in that time. And that to me was also a very, I couldn't believe it.
And of course, this leads to all kinds of other problems, right? Because in that case that you were describing, it creates unwarranted pressure. It might have taken the developer away from something else that was higher priority. There's all kinds of stuff, but there's also the relationship with stakeholders, because when you go to the stakeholder and say, it will be done by X, and of course, there's a lot of other things that are in play that could change that. It creates missed expectations and, of course, conflicts, right?
Yeah, a lot of conflicts because they do set expectations and they are treated like time boxes. And even if somebody is just actually monitoring that, but in these cases, and it's been pretty much throughout the way we've been working, like especially digital agencies, you see this happening that, okay, the developers give estimates and then they have to kind of work by these estimates to finish that in like something in time of that estimate. And, they set expectations with the stakeholder, how much it's going to cost as well. And it's ridiculous because they don't say anything about value. And it's very much an effort-driven perspective where we work in an industry which is more, it's about specialisms and, about knowledge and craft. And it's not about effort. It's about, all the stuff that you've learned and how you can apply that and how good you are at that.
So, of course, we need to deal with this, though. So you as a Scrum Master, what have you learned in your experience that helps in these kinds of situations where the teams are being asked to commit upfront to a certain estimate?
Yeah, so you have this product owner that will kind of demand a certain velocity at the end of the sprint. And of course, it instantly ties into the revenue that the team is generating because of the amount of story they process, and really get upset when actually slam the fist on the table and pound. Okay, well, how come we didn't achieve it, and how come this isn't done or that isn't done, and we're losing money, we're costing more as a team to for our own upkeep, and then we're generating a value, and that to me felt like very okay, but it's not the responsibility of the development team. That's the responsibility of the product owner to kind of focus on value. And I kind of just see it as, the development team, they can bring X many wheelbarrows full of stuff, and it's the value that you put into it as a product owner that determines how much value you deliver at the very end. But to me, it's just the kind of zombie mode, like, okay, I'll ask a developer how much it's going to, how much time it's going to take. That time equates the money that I'm going to ask to my client, and then they're going to bill that. And then if something takes too long, then we're losing money. If we can speed it up, we're also losing money because we're getting billed by the hour. So there's no win.
It's a lose-lose situation.
We lose-lose. And so how I try to kind of deal with that is kind of try and reverse the way that goes. That the product owner needs to learn first from the customer and users how valuable something is for them, and what the urgency is in terms of when it should be ready and when it makes most sense, also in context to all of the other requests and other stuff that's in the backlog. And using that, the product owner should approach the development team and say, okay, hey, this is how valuable it is. This is kind of a timeline, what we're hoping for, looking towards. What can you do? What approach can you come and think of that's going to help us achieve this? So it's the reverse. It's not just going to the team first, then first bringing the value to the team and explaining to the team why it's important to have it ready by a certain time or certain date, and then kind of challenging the team to come up with a good approach, because that approach depends on the client's budget as well. So a development team could approach it like a very basic. They can create a very basic version of something, but you can also create a very high quality and highly immersive kind of experience thing out of it as well. So it can be very functional. It can also be an entire experience. So the development team can adapt themselves to how much a client values something. And that's not something that a lot of, I guess, product owners or a lot of project managers consider.
Always focus first on value. I think that's really the key, right? And understand that whatever time we have available is the time that we will use. But if we don't understand the value, we don't even know where to start. Exactly.
And a development team should understand that. And a good product owner should be able to kind of convey that to the development team. And if they don't, you get a very toxic, because, if a developer finishes something ahead of time, it's not good, because, it doesn't motivate them to finish something faster. And when they're taking longer, they're probably going to hide it. They're going to be creative with how they book their hours, and because they don't want to be confronted or have this conversation with the product owner.
Exactly. And then all kinds of dynamics evolve around time instead of around value.
Yeah. And they would dump stuff because, I've checked everything off. So I've done my part. So I'm not thinking about how can I make this more valuable. I'm not thinking about how can I make this even better. And make those kind of suggestions. I'm not going to go put in the extra mile. I'm just going to dump stuff and not, deliver something and improve it. So that happens in culture. Like if you're just, only focusing on effort, you just, it's the getting shit done mindset that ends up getting literally like shit done.
That's actually a very good point, because the core of the product owner value, the product owner role is value. It's not more stuff done, right? If you can deliver a feature that has a transformative impact on the success of the product, then that feature is worth more than any other features, no matter how many they are, that don't deliver that transformational success for the product. And because of that, maybe the next pattern we are going to talk about, maybe it's again around value. I do want to explore that a little bit more, but let's focus now on what is a good example of a PO, and then we'll explore that also from the value perspective. Sure. So share with us what might have been the best product owner pattern you've seen in your career.
Well, I learned a lot from product ownership from Maarten Dalmijn and a member of the community, and Inse Segaar, also a coach that I work with. And I hadn't seen a really great example before then, but they kind of like what we just talked about. The great product owner is the one that lives and breathes the product vision, the why and for who, and caring about literally caring about the stakeholders and the product and what it's doing for them, and literally caring about the team and the happiness. And every they should, you should, always feel that when you're interacting with the PO, right? You always have to be talking about it, even up to a point where it becomes a bore.
Yes, yes.
And that's the pattern. And I'm not sure if it's a technique or a tool that you can apply here, but it's it could be something, like lots of people kind of go into user stories, but then user stories become kind of almost like a zombie approach. Like as a user, I'm going to do this because of that. It also becomes very abstract. But if you have a real person really passionate of something and challenging the team not to figure out, telling the team what to do, but asking the team a big question: how can we achieve this, or how can we achieve this for this customer or this particular stakeholder who's having this challenge, and it would mean the world to that person if we could do this for that person, and how would you do it? How would you go about it? And then ask the team that question. And that's for that gives the team a sense of self-worth and value, and they understand the purpose, and then they can fall in love with the problem instead of just fall in love with figuring out how to kind of just doing a mundane task, so to speak. So it leaves it kind of the solution up to the team. And in that sense, another approach is kind of being like in Agile, you see lots of people creating like Agile roadmaps or roadmaps here, like product roadmaps. And I feel that's very much like a cheat, because it's almost like a Gantt chart. It's almost saying like everything's predictable. We know when we achieve what milestones and what dates and the steps that are going to take us there. But a real product owner in that sense, like a Scrum product owner, is a backpacker, right? She makes decisions as she journeys with the team as the product emerges. That product owner understands, look, I'm not going to book everything up front because that's very risky, because I don't know what I'm going to encounter. I'm going to postpone my decisions because I'll make better decisions when I'm actually experiencing it over time. Like I can make a better decision tomorrow than today because I know more and I'm experiencing more, and I can keep control over my budget. I'm not going to spend all my budget up front. I'm going to spend it as we go. And that mindset as a product owner is fundamental. Like you have to be that empiricist person that is a traveler, not I want to have everything, all my plans booked up front and stick to the plan. And that person, when a team member comes up to that person, like that product owner, with a challenge, that person shouldn't be scared. Like, oh my God, there's a problem. And that problem being, okay, oh my God, we have a big problem. It's going to hurt the plans. It's, oh my God, so we have to fix this problem low cost or ignore the problem or whatever. But it's not a problem. It's a valuable new learning that somebody's bringing to you that you should embrace as a product owner. Thank you for having learned this. So now we can adapt.
Absolutely. Some people call it scope creep. I tend to call it value discovery, because as you said, you learn as the product emerges. I think that's a brilliant way to put it. And as the product emerges, we need to be adaptable. We need to be that backpacker that is able to take whatever is available and make a great day out of it.
Yeah. If you focus every day on what's most valuable that day, you're going to do the most valuable thing, regardless. So.
Absolutely. Great description, Sjoerd. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. Unfortunately, we're getting close to the end. So do tell us, though, where can we find out more about you and the work that you're doing?
Please check out Serious Scrum. We're like a very great, very safe and warm and friendly, helpful Scrum community. And we're serious, but not dogmatic in that sense. We're just, want to help each other, like as practitioner to practitioner. And we're creating really great stuff. So you can check us out on Slack. You can check us out on LinkedIn. We're working on the new website, seriousscrum.com, which is now very basic, but we're going to make it really awesome to easily filter and search content by a certain subject. We're working on this Road to Mastery program, this co-creative training program that we all create together and journey through together every week. So it's it's free to check it out, just to join in on one of the sessions and experiences for yourself what that's like. I would like to invite you to do that. And feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or just in Slack and reach out and experience for yourself what Serious Scrum is all about.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for all of that. And of course, the links to all of the things that Sjoerd just mentioned will be on the show notes. So for everyone to easily find those. Sjoerd, thank you very much for your generosity with your time and your knowledge.
Thank you for this invitation and opportunity. I love the format and work you're doing here. And it's going great. I would say let's keep it up.
Thank you for the encouragement, Sjoerd.
Awesome, and you.
One more week of the Scrum Master Toolbox Podcast is over, but there's a lot more we have to share. We have developed our own membership site where you find a community of active and engaged Scrum Masters. In this site, you get access to exclusive content and get to interact with us, your podcast hosts, as well as the best Scrum Masters in the world. Join us at scrummastertoolbox.com/podcast and keep this podcast free of advertising. See you next week for one more week full of Scrum Master tips and tricks. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.